Well, good afternoon. If it's Monday, 3 o'clock Eastern, it's Mondays with Michael live here on Facebook. Thank you for joining me today in the room if you're here. And if you're watching this post session either on Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, thanks for checking it out. Appreciate the feedback we're getting. Thanks to those who are sending me messages, whether it be emails or messages here on Facebook or LinkedIn. I do see folks out in the community from time to time. They tell me they're watching and they're learning some tips about supervisory skills and team building, a little more about DISC, so I appreciate all the feedback. Today's session is all around conflict, or we like to say productive conflict or healthy conflict, productive conflict at work. For those of you who listened through the team series we just did, we talked about conflict on a team, talked about healthy conflict, productive conflict, and conflict is not something that's going to go away. It's just not going to go away in the workplace. So a couple years ago, Wiley had produced a new Everything Is product that seems to be really popular with our clients. It's called Productive Conflict. It's the Productive Conflict Profile. And for those of you who haven't seen it yet, there's a sample on our website. For those of you who would like to take it, you're welcome to take it free. We'll send you a link to take the profile, and I'd be happy to debrief your report when you get it. So today I'm going to talk to you a little about the profile, what it measures, and how you can use it in the workplace. So this program is delivered in either half a day or a full day. For our clients that have already used this before, they tend to do it a half day as a follow-up, kind of the next phase. They do the workplace. Then they may come back and do productive conflict. They also may come back and do work of leaders or management or sales, but it's definitely a 2.0 version. If you've done this before, it's kind of the next level. If you've never done this before, there is enough in there to have participants learn about this before they move down this road. Well, let's talk about what this measures and the cornerstone principles. So the cornerstone principles, which you'll find on page 2 of this profile, is that conflict is an inevitable part of the workplace. It's an inevitable part of workplace relationships. And it can also be productive. Healthy debate of ideas, which we talked about in the team session, can be productive. Your response to conflict situations is up to you. It's your own control. No one controls your behavior when it comes to a conflict situation. You control your behavior. You also control your first thoughts when a conflict situation happens. And we're going to talk about that as we go through the profile. Learning about other people's DISC style can help you understand their conflict behaviors. So again, you're going to learn more about yourself when it comes to conflict using DISC, but you are going to learn a lot about DISC styles from the other styles that are opposite of yours. We'll talk about how that looks like. And then you can use productive conflict every day to make life more engaging with others at work. I like that word, life more engaging. So then the profile gets into your DISC style and conflict. Unlike the other profiles, it goes through a deeper dive based on where your DISC dot is, if you will. What conflict means to you? How do you approach conflict normally based on your work style? What I really like the graphic that's on page 5 and the map that's on page 5 of the profile, and we do kind of that 4-corner exercise in this class like we do with other classes, and each of the 4 styles gathers together by style, and we talk about conflict, and they talk about their approaches to conflict. We talk about productive tendencies. We talk about destructive tendencies, because there are productive behaviors in a conflict situation. Then there are those destructive behaviors. We want to stay away from those. So each of the 4 styles has an opportunity to share that information with the larger group. And then the next section really talks about conflict by each of the 4 styles, how each of the 4 styles approaches conflict, and how you can interact with each of the 4 styles based on where your dot is on the map. A little job aid to how to interact with others when they are in a conflict situation. What are their needs? What are your needs? What are your priorities? What are their priorities? And how do you move this forward? But then we really get into the crux of the program, which are those destructive responses or your automatic thoughts in a conflict situation. What is your first reaction? And how do you assess that first reaction? So we give you a little bit of a one-sheet assessment of the things you may do immediately in a conflict situation. What are your natural tendencies in a conflict situation? What are your first thoughts in a conflict situation? And we have you do that assessment on page 11, but then we have you go through 18 separate set of behaviors in the next subsequent pages that kind of describe that behavior. So if you've assessed yourself of doing one of those behaviors, let's say it's decisiveness, you're going to learn more about how that behavior plays out in your conflict situation. And that's really good information. There are 18 specific behaviors there. Not only will you learn more about yourself, but you'll learn more about others in a conflict situation. What do they tend to do from a destructive behavior situation? What are their first thoughts? in a conflict situation. So it's very, very good information. So we're going to get to a place now that we've talked about this and we've had a deeper dive of that automatic thought. How do you change that automatic thought? How do you change from going from an automatic thought that's a destructive behavior to an automatic thought that may be something a bit more positive in solving a conflict situation or approaching a conflict situation that's a little better, So on pages 19 and 20, you're going to have a little activity, and we'll go through this activity as a group about how to control your first thoughts around a conflict situation. And then choosing a productive response. And again, on page 21, you're going to get to a place in the program where you're going to actually do a little bit of action planning. I'm going to do a little more positive response in this situation. I'm going to practice my positive response. I'm going to control my first thoughts a little better. How do I do this moving forward? And again, we'll pair you up with somebody in their classroom, and you'll get a chance to do some action planning one-on-one right there in the classroom. As I mentioned, this can be done in a full-day program. It can be done in a half-day program. We tell clients all the time that conflict is not going to go away in the workplace. Conflict is going to be a productive part of the workplace if it's managed correctly. We see a lot of destructive conflict in the workplace. We see it at the one-on-one level. We also see it at the team level. When we go take folks through the 5 Behaviors program, we see that conflict can be really destructive in the workplace. So we really recommend this program. It can be done with anyone in the organization. Again, for those clients of ours that have done this is a nice add-on. This is a nice secondary module, maybe a few months down the line. But again, if you're trying to address conflict in your workplace and trying to give some of your employees the tools they need to address conflict in the workplace, this is a great standalone program. As I said, it can be done in a half day, can be done in a full day. I do want to give you a quick reminder that we're doing our webinar this Wednesday on the 5 Behaviors program. I will put that in the comment section here today. And hopefully we saw slots opened up, so you want to sign up for that. If your team's having a bit of a struggle, you know, we're here to help. So come check out the 5 Behaviors program on Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern time. Again, I'll put a registration link wherever you're watching this today. So I want to thank you for hanging out with me today. This is Mondays with Michael live on Facebook. We'll see you next Monday in the room. And if you're watching this post session, thanks for checking it out. Have a great day. Bye.